It's the last Bedlam for the foreseeable future, if ever. Sad. I didn't really like Mike Gundy's comments this week about how it's not a rivalry the way it was before and stuff. It's just like, come on, show some respect to the last game here and want to grind their bones into the ground. Like, I want Oklahoma State to want this game more than anybody wants a game this year, because it's an important way to kind of depart here. And Oklahoma State, who we thought for a while there was a complete dumpster fire this year, all of a sudden is playing very good football. And I think it's another testament to just the amazing consistency that he has illustrated as Oklahoma State's coach. Oklahoma is coming off of a loss. Kansas, I don't think, is an embarrassing team to lose to anymore, but still a tough loss. Max, what's your take on this one here as we get going?
All right, do you know that off the top of your head Oklahoma's record against Gundy?
I don't know. But based on that question, probably not as good as I would have thought. No, it's pretty good. It's pretty lopsided, isn't it?
It's 15-3 right now. Yeah, it's 15-3.
Okay. Yeah, I was just trying to think the last time they won. I can't even remember the last time Oklahoma State won the game.
21.
They 21, which is one of the best games I've ever covered. Yeah,
that was the Caleb Williams crying game.
Oh yeah. I remember that game. Yeah, I remember that game.
That was the Lincoln Riley left town.
Guys, I'm not going to LSU.
Right. Yeah, that was the Lincoln Riley's not taking LSU game. I think, we had some epic games in 21, 18, 17. I think that just covering OU last week against Kansas, I'll tell you what, guys, like, this OU fan base, you get the sense they're very fed up with Jeff Lebby, and this is a very interesting spot for Jeff Lebby against Brian Nardo. I think that's going to be an interesting matchup. Oklahoma State's scoring offense, top 10 nationally in the month of October during this 4-game win streak. There's a lot to like about Oklahoma State. Ollie Gordon has been ridiculous. I'm still going with OU. Like, it's just kind of been, even in the years when you feel like, oh man, this is the year for Oklahoma State to get them. They kind of, shoot themselves in the foot, and Oklahoma runs away with it. Like last year when OU was horrible, they still had no trouble putting away Oklahoma State. So I lean Sooners because there's just a lot of pressure on OU this week.
Yeah, I mean, when Gundy has beaten Oklahoma State or Oklahoma, pretty much every time it has been because he's had the better team. Now, there was one game in like 05 where he didn't necessarily have a better team, but they don't really spring upsets on OU. And they've lost a lot of games when they have had a much better team to Oklahoma. They don't have a much better team here. Oklahoma's clearly a better team. Oklahoma State's been playing well. But Gundy doesn't have the better team here, at least not clearly the better team. And Oklahoma will be focused. Like you said, Max, I don't think like there's any shame in losing to Kansas, but that gets your attention. You're playing for your playoff life here. And even that, you might still need some help. So you're going to get a focus Oklahoma. The defense is good enough to slow down Ollie Gordon. And like the Cowboys will be a trendy upset pick, no question. But this rivalry, it does mean a lot to Venables.
Why do you gloss over the idea of like the defense is good enough to stop Ollie Gordon? Like why? Like I was watching the Kansas game last week, and I felt like OU was not going to get a stop. Like that's like the thing that's so crazy.
Well, a lot of that's Jason Bean running around though.
No, I know. I mean, I'm not saying it's the same position, but I don't like the feeling of when you're watching a game knowing that the team is not going to be able to stop the opposition, no matter what they're doing. It's like
I think they do. That's what I'm saying. I think so. For me, OU gets the win in the cover here. I'll lay the points for the Sooners.
Does Oklahoma State have the best player?
Is Stutzman going to be okay?
Good questions. These are good questions.
Mixed things about him. This is injuries in college football are always a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that Ollie Gordon is going to get just get straight up like, oh, he's going to have like a 20 for 60 kind of game. Like I think he's going to get his, but it's certainly going to be on Bowman. It's certainly going to be on Alan Bowman playing a really efficient game, and
that's where we start getting nervous.
Yeah. But you know what? I'll tell you what. Kansas made a ton of mistakes last week and still was able to play with Oklahoma till the end. So it's not. I don't think it's that tense for Oklahoma State that they're like one mistake away from this unraveling. But man, they got to play so clean in this game.
Here's the thing too that I'm. If this game under the same circumstances were being played in the 90s or the 80s, I might feel a little bit differently about it but do you feel like the players on the team at Oklahoma, I know the fans and the coach are very bitterly disappointed. in what's going on with the reorganization of the sport and what Texas and Oklahoma did with the SEC. I don't think the players get that mad about stuff like that. Like, I don't know if the players themselves have a burning desire to win this game, because I just think they have TikTok and all the other things that they're concerned about, and it just doesn't. It depends
resonate on the kid. I don't know the breakdown of Oklahoma's roster of Oklahoma kids versus Texas kids. Usually, it's like what max 60.
I think Oklahoma's roster, I think, has far less percentage points of Oklahoma kids on their roster than Oklahoma State, right?
Probably.
Oklahoma State is definitely more in-state.
It does mean a lot in the state. Now, in general, I lived in Oklahoma City for like 9 months. I've covered the Big 12 for a long time. Like, Oklahoma State is probably 15 to 20% of the fans in the state. There is definitely a big brother, little brother dynamic there. And going out, I mean, punching your big brother in the face before he goes out to college and you don't see him for 4 years. There's a welcoming to that. So it's going to be a tough atmosphere. But I don't know. I think I wouldn't say the whole roster is foaming at the mouth, on both sides here.
Also, I think people want to picture that. I think people want that to be the case, Dave. Go ahead, Max.
There's a lot of people that are, though.
This offseason, we did have a starter for Oklahoma State, Trace Ford, transferred to Oklahoma, and he is playing a lot for the Sooners. So you would think in the past, like in big rivalries, that's like unthinkable, right? But I think you're probably onto something there, Ari, that like to the players, it's not necessarily that deep, and there's not anybody necessarily like bawling that they won't get to play Oklahoma next year. But I still think like Boone Pickens Stadium is going to be absolutely lit.
Yeah, the fans.
I can't wait to see it.
Yeah. Also, too, I'm going to lay the 6 because I just think Oklahoma's a better football team.
Well, now I'm worried if we're all three going to go with OU here.
Yeah, I'm going OU as well.
If it were like 7.5, I might think about it, but like less than a touchdown, like